Microwaves can kill a person. For example, if you had the intensity required to cook something, you could cook a person.
I was literally baked in a microwave oven.
There's a host of unknown consequences, including cancer, birth defects, things of this sort.
UK microwave sales plummeted immediately after the documentary aired. Potential purchasers were particularly anxious that radiation would somehow escape through the oven's walls or door.
I suggest we give them this, a microwave leakage detector.
Knowing that the safety fears eventually proved groundless, the tech team dispatched the oven to the house.
God, it's heavy.
The family's challenge is to use their delivery as a household would have done in 1980. At that time, microwaves were being sold as the time-saving replacement for the traditional oven.
So we've got to do a menu for tonight created entirely with the microwave oven.
An exciting prospect for anybody about to embark on it.
But first, following commonplace advice in 1980, the family make sure the oven won't cook them.
If it gets into the red, it's dangerous. Run for your life.
I've heard before that it can be harmful standing in front of the microwave.
Who told you that?
You.
Oh, well, there you go, see, because I heard that when I was first using microwaves, so I probably just passed on the big fib.
It's fine. What's all the fuss about?
There might be meals that you could do quite nicely.
Many cookbooks were published at the time dedicated solely to the new art of microwave cuisine. They promised food which not only cooked much faster, but also tasted better.
Some of my dinner guests have exclaimed that my microwave-cooked vegetables are the best they've ever tasted.
What are we making for dinner then?
Roast chicken in the microwave.
Even the most evangelical cookbooks had to admit microwaves couldn't brown meat or poultry. They suggested slavering your roast in ketchup, gravy mix, or paprika.
It's to give it a bit of colour, to try and persuade yourself that it looks a bit more something akin to the colour bird that you're used to eating from an oven. Roast. So I guess that's the fella.
Of course, only one dish at a time can fit into the microwave. So none of the trimmings George is preparing can begin cooking till the chicken's completed its 40-minute spin.
Hello, chicken. It looks like fake tan that's had a bit of time sweating on the dance floor.
Microwaves were even recommended for baking, so making pudding should be a piece of cake.
Wow, that is funky. Look, why?
It's good being able to see it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Careful.
Only when every single dish has had its moment in the oven can the family finally have their dinner.
Is that nice, Jude?
Always delicious.
Of course you are.
I looked at my watch at 6:20 and thought, 40 minutes, brilliant, we'll be eating at 7.
8:52 on my digital watch.
Nearly 9 o'clock.
Let's be honest, throwing a chicken in the oven with a few roast potatoes is at least as easy and probably less bother.
I'm surprised that this actually tastes, if you're not eating the skin, absolutely fine.
Not as nice as the oven, but it's not horrible. It's better than I thought it would be. Yeah.
Though the cake looks the business, the proof of a pudding traditionally lies elsewhere.
Almost like it's a stale cake.
Into radiation. Kind of rock solid.
It's almost like it's not cooked evenly all the way through, is it? It's classic microwave cooking, really, isn't it? Where it tends to heat one part of the dish more than another.
The family won't be chucking out their regular oven just yet.
Right in the middle.
The kids end their first day in the 80s by settling down in front of the new TV. There's one novelty waiting for them.
Oh, it's massive. It's huge. It's heavy. It's quite heavy. It's quite heavy for a like a mobile phone. You know, hello?
I have only one thing to say. You turn if you want to. The ladies not for turning. This is another wrong type. The links are far too fine. The hair gets through.
Since only 2% of households had video recorders in 1980, this was as much control over the TV as most people had.
Master will explain.
With a new day comes a new year. and a new delivery from the tech team. An increasing amount of technology in the 80s was designed to entertain us,
So this is Jude's one. Thank you.
no matter how young.
Oh! It says spell. Can you find out?
The yellow one.
Speak and Spell cost £120 in today's money, but sold well because parents could be persuaded it was educational. For the older kids, the primitive ancestors of the world's best-selling handheld electronic games.
Well, that's Nintendo. I didn't think they'd be around in the 1980s. I don't get what you're supposed to do. It's not very good compared to the games in 2009, but since we don't have that, then it's good enough.
Hamish quickly figures out the benefits of having pocket-sized tech.
It's mine, and it belongs to me, so nobody else has the right to play it.
Dad's new toy would have cost nearly £300 in today's money.
Wow. The Sony Walkman, look. Look how big that is, guys.
For the same amount in 2009, he could buy 2 MP3 players with room for 60,000 songs.
Solid state. Oh, lovely, though.
A new Polaroid!
They're all rapidly silenced by their individual gizmos. Even Jude.
Where are you going?
Sony launched the world's first personal stereo in the dying months of the 70s. The designers initially worried it was antisocial, so early Walkmans were fitted with 2 headphone sockets. As it turned out, we all loved being cut off from the world around us. Soon, every other manufacturer brought out their own version of the Walkman.
So much better than having nothing. Having something like this to take my mind away from the boredom of it is a must. I find it difficult. I don't think I'd do as much exercise without some entertainment. It's not one of those things that you need to have, but it sure is nice to have.
In the decade where Margaret Thatcher would claim there was no such thing as society, the family are already enjoying technology they don't have to share.
In the 70s, you'd play together rather than playing on your own or something. But now, because they brought in this kind of thing and tape players, you can go off on your own. It's good to have your own kind of bubble and you can do what you want really, instead of all being together at the same time, which is kind of gets a bit annoying.
While most of the economy was deep in recession, British computing was a miraculous exception. A manufacturing industry that wasn't sacking everyone.
If it's got a keyboard, a manual and computer written on it, it'll sell. That's the word around the exploding market for personal or home computers that simply plug into a television set.
We're the world's largest producer of computers. We make more than the whole nation of Japan put together.
Technological innovation had met 80s entrepreneurialism. The perfect mix for a leader who was a science graduate as well as a free market evangelist.
Prime Minister, this is a small home computer.
The Sullivan-Barnes family are going to experience microcomputer mania. So the tech team needs to check up on the choice available in 1982. Gia's come to meet Simon Webb from the National Museum of Computing.
We've got about 3,000 items in the collection.
From this vast array, they select a few models of the right vintage. Some faded rapidly into obscurity.
There's a Dragon there, Dragon 32. This was a Welsh company that produced this.
Others, however, found their way into millions of homes.
What made a machine successful was the availability of software, and this is where machines like the Spectrum sort of won out, because there were huge number of software titles available for it.
The Spectrum's main British rival was made by Acorn. Although it cost 3 times as much, it had heavyweight backing. The BBC branded it, and the government paid for one to go into every school in Britain.
So I suppose the main issue with early 80s computers was that none of them were compatible.
That's right. This was what really was unsustainable. Everybody doing their own thing. So it wasn't until the IBM PC really sort of established a standard that all these machines started sort of dying out,
Navigating a path through such incompatible hardware was often